Okay, chalo. So we'll start with the next portion. So before we proceed into the next thing, always we will start with what we had learned in the past. So we were in chapter number 1. We'll have a quick recap of what we had learned yesterday. So we were in chapter 1. So chapter 1 has two elements primarily. There is one more element called a mechanism, SQC1, and you have got SA220. When you talk about SQC1, SQC has got primarily two elements called your objective and elements, or you can also call it as a procedures or content components. Okay, elements we can say. Procedures we will tell for other thing. Now, what is your objective? You have got primarily two objectives. One, compliance. Second, reporting. What reporting? Appropriate reporting. Yeah, I hope students you are also writing like this. Every day we have to write. At the end, no, everything should be sitting in our brain. When you talk about compliance, we have got three types of compliance. One is law, legal related, regulation related, profession related, professional standards, legal, regulatory, professional. So which of the elements we have got? So we have got around 6 elements. The first is leadership. So we'll write it properly in the mind map later. So when we talk about a leadership, primarily, what do you mean by leadership? Leadership means tone at the top. So what do you mean by tone? So tone means you have to have 1 minute. One, internal culture. Promote internal culture. Second, personal policy. You need to have a proper personal policy. And third, delegation. These are all the only 3 things. How? This is what? What do you mean by leadership responsibility? Leadership means they should ensure these 3 things. How they will do it? For this, they have to ensure business strategy. See, this is roughly we are writing. Then commercial consideration, do not override quality. Then we have got this person. Okay, 1 minute. I think missed. Oh, sorry. This is not personal policy. This is a CEO. Okay, just CEO to take responsibility. Here comes the personal policy. And the last one, we have got sufficient resource. That's it. This is how it goes. So they can ask you, see students, you have to focus on this particular components only. This is concepts. This is how the concepts are interconnected. And you have to pay focus here, because question and answer is more like a one reference guide for you. Q&A, don't completely rely on Q&A. Q&A is more like a recipe book. They have shown you different type of recipes. But recipe comes because of 2 elements. One is ingredient and your knowledge to use that ingredient. So these are all the ingredients. Like this is one ingredient, this is one ingredient, this is one ingredient. Then how do you use that ingredient? That's what you have to practice now. You can make a variation. Just to give an analogy to you, see, we prepare something called a dal for Konkanis. No, dal is fantastic. This is our, like, we also call it as our another god for us. Now, if you see, I am from Surathkal or Mangalore. There is another place called Karkal. There also they prepare dal, but there is a variation. It is not the same dal. We call it dal, but they put some different ingredients. See, just by putting some ingredients or just by changing the method, see, dal is not going to change. See, ultimately, you have to focus on preparing dal. It should not become sambar. You cannot call sambar as a dal, because sambar requires a different ingredients. Even though it may have the ingredients of dal, but the methodology will be different. Some ingredients will be different. So you have to be focused on 2 elements, students. One is called ingredients, another is called a method to use that ingredients. Okay, and within few time, you will master it. Okay, so the next one, our next element here will be, what is that we learned? After leadership, we learned about ethical requirement. Okay, what do you mean by ethical requirement? So it is the fundamental principles. You can say fundamental principles. Okay, first of all, it includes your actions of the leadership. First of all, leader only should act. Like I told about my daughter's example. Awareness. You spread awareness, then you monitor, then you punish or non-compliance or non-compliance. Okay, one of the element here is your independence. Okay, I can add one more thing called independence. So what you need to have? You need to have a policies and procedures. Then you need to have communicate. Then take action, identify and take action. That's right. These are all your ethical requirement. Okay, so yeah, other things we can proceed further. Okay, and how do you do it? One, provide information. Annual confirmation. Okay, like this we will move on. Like at the end of the session, see, all these things should be sitting in your brain. This in one chart, you should be knowing now everything. And this is what you need to remember, friends. Please understand. You cannot remember this language. It is not possible for you to remember this language as it is. What you can do, you can read it. And to your great surprise, see, anything initially, it looks difficult. Like for example, driving looks very difficult. Cooking, ayo, khatarnak. Okay, and you have anything, swimming, but you never realize when you learned it. So what you need to do, you need to do some sort of practices. So don't try to memorize from study material. It is very difficult. It is humanly very difficult for anybody to memorize. Okay, you memorize this. This is what you need to have. And this will come automatically. The moment you read it, books like a newspaper, automatically this language will come to you. Okay, for someone it may take more time, for someone it may take less time, but when you practice, you are going to get. So we will go back to our new component today, the third element. Okay, so this is the leadership, and today we will talk about the new called acceptance and continuance. Okay, friends. So first, if you see, quality control is very important. We understood. And the very pillar of the big first pillar is the leadership responsibility. Because if the leader is not serious, then actually we need not look into other 6 elements. Okay, leader is serious. Then second thing comes ethical requirements, because we have to be very ethical in our work. Otherwise, what happens? Trust is lost. And the moment trust is lost, cash is lost. You don't trust someone, you don't pay them the cash, you don't engage with them. So the second element is my ethical requirement, obviously. So we are done with the leadership. Leadership is very serious. We are fully ethical. Fantastic. What next? Okay, now client comes to us. Now when a client comes to us, first very fundamental question comes, should I engage with this client? Okay, I'll give you an analogy, students. I'll ask you one very simple question and I'll ask you an analogy so that I can connect you with the concept. Now, say for example, there is one alliance, like this is one family. This is a boy, this is a girl. Now the boy sides will give one proposal to girl side and girl side will give proposal to boy side. It's a marriage. Now, say for example, from any point of view, generally, okay, traditionally, the girls side, because they have to spend money and all, okay. Maybe it may change in upcoming days. That is a different story, or it's changing right now. Okay, I will talk from the traditional perspective. Traditionally, what used to happen? The girls' proposals, okay, this is a girl. Girls used to get the proposal like family, and what the very first thing the girls side they used to evaluate. What is that? Okay, if we have to give, because problem comes what we have, girl has to be given. That is the like what is traditional thing. Today or tomorrow situation can be different. So when we talk about this, a marriage proposal, and let us think from the a girl's father perspective, what is the very first consideration that person will have? What is the first thing they will evaluate? They have to evaluate the integrity of whom? Of the family plus boy. See, once upon a time, okay, my father's and my grandfather's time, there is no, the boy doesn't come into picture only. The girl is given to a family actually, not to a boy. They just look into the family background, finish. But today, okay, boy is also come into picture, family is also important. Maybe tomorrow only boy will have. But whatever it is, students, the very first element, what somebody would have looked into is the integrity. Who are they integral? Now question comes, how do you get the information about the integrity of someone? How do you get that information? Yes, you may have the, like, how do you found out? Like, you might have made an inquiry, business reputation, or we can say, what is the reputation of that? You would have called someone and asked, okay, who do you know them? What about them? See, like this, no, someone has to verify. Then what activities they are into, what business they are into, what is their attitude. So all these things, aspects you would have verified with regard to the integrity. Now, when you talk about this particular thing, this is not within your control. Please remember, because integrity of the client is not in your control. Integrity of the opposite party is not in your control. You can just make a choice. Should I deal with them or should I not deal with them? Okay, chalo. You got a proposal, which is a fantastic proposal. Okay, very honest people, very fantastic family. Boy is also very good. What is the second criteria a father would have evaluated? That is competence. Yeah, they are very good. But they are telling, no, you have to do the marriage in Burj Khalifa and we have got 1,000 people. You have to take all 1,000 people in one chartered flight and all. See, father would have seen, no, is it within my capability? So because when client comes with an unreasonable demand, okay, my timelines are not there. Like I will not be able to devote time. I cannot just accept the engagement. Similarly, when some marriage proposal comes with unreasonable demands, now they are really good people, no doubt. But the unreasonable demand, we will not be able to meet. This is what you see in the movies and all. So this is within your control. And the third element, you see, that within ethical requirement. This is within nobody's control. For example, fantastic family, no demand only, or whatever they demand, we will be in a position to do it. So this condition is fulfilled. This is also fulfilled. But to our great surprise, we saw, see, because we generally do this Kundali match. And one of the big Kundali match is like, see, we are from the same Gotra, same Kula, or same God knows whatever it is. Or Shashtashtak, that means boys Kundali is looking that side and girls Kundali is this side. See, now, no, that is not a problem. Ethical, that is not the thing. Ethical requirement is primarily, we have that in our caste, we have that. If two people belongs to same Gotra, no, we cannot have such match. So we have to be, both the boy and girl should be from different Gotra. See, that becomes an ethical thing, not correct. Okay, it's not, because they feel like we feel like they are like our family. We cannot have such marriages. So now, third element you have to evaluate. So if I have to take you back, okay, and explain you what we should be doing here, is you see here, same principles apply for audit also. A new client comes, or client is already there. You are deciding whether to continue with them or not, with the relationship or engagement. Relationship means you have got multiple engagements. Like for example, audit is there, tax audit is there, or you have got this tax representation, or I may accept this, I may not accept this. Acceptance can take two forms. I can accept multiple relationships, or I can accept one specific engagement. I may not accept specific engagement. Continuous means I may discontinue the relationship. I say none of your activities I want. I don't want your tax audit also. I don't want your representation also. Or here I will continue with the relationship. I will say that I don't want your tax audit, but I will continue with your systems audit. So these are all the consideration you have to make, and you need to have a policies and procedures for this. Now let us see. A firm, before accepting the engagement, acquire vital information. You have to acquire, Baba, about the client, because you should know whom you are dealing with. Because tomorrow, because this has got cash problems, friends, please understand. Because this client can be cunning, okay? They can spoil your reputation in the market. Tomorrow you come to know that you got associated with that, and so many of your clients can leave. So ultimately, if you are not going to perform this, no, you are going to lose the cash. Organization is going to lose the cash. So that's why it's very important you know whom you are dealing with, what information to gather. Simple. Just like for a marriage proposal, we gather 3P information. Here also we have to gather integrity of the client, but which client? Promoters and key managerial person. I said no, promoters means like a family. Key managerial persons are like the boy. Competence, including capability, time and resources. Like see, marriage, the people have come. You got an this proposal, and they said tomorrow you have to do the marriage. No, Baba, we don't have that much of time. We need some time to all the relatives. We have to arrange it to perform the engagement. And the third one is compliance with the ethical requirement. Like see, you must have also seen in your offices, you must have put a board that if 30th September is the last date to file the return, you don't accept after the 25th. You must have put the board that okay, don't bring the files after 25th. You go somewhere else, because you have got a time constraint. In this case, you are rejecting that engagement. You say that you don't come to me because I don't have a time. I require time to analyze, because this can be one of the tactics. See what happened. No, say they have got some problem. There is some cash problems or there is some misstatement. They don't give information till the last moment, and last moment they provide the information. They know that you will not be able to focus more there, and in a hurry you will complete the time and you finish the work. So this can be one of the strategies somebody might be following. So that's why these are the three informations you have to gather. Now, where issues have been identified, like suppose you come to know some problems related to integrity or competence or ethical requirement, and please understand, integrity is not within your control. Competency capability is within your control. Compliance with the ethical requirement is in nobody's control. What is the compliance ethical requirement? Like for example, one client comes to you and asks for audit engagement. But for this client, you are already giving say book maintenance, like say related services, compilation engagement. Now what happens? No, you will have a self-review threat, or section 144 of companies that bars you from giving some certain set of management consultancy services and audit services. See, that is ethical, because it is not correct. I cannot give you the same services of preparing financials also and auditing financials also. So this is within nobody's control. You have to comply with the law or code of ethics. So when you have identified the issues, you need to accept, and then still you have decided to accept or continue, you have to document how you have addressed it. What is the action you have taken? You have to document. Okay, let us see one of the examination question. Again, this question has already come for the May 24 exam, and in MTP, with this concept, how they will ask you in the examination. Now we will take this question. This came in March 26 recently. Loyal and Co. Chartered accountants have been recently experiencing significant growth. Started several large companies. Okay, similar questions we have seen somewhere. Significant growth was there. That's why, students, I told you, don't focus too much on the Q&A. Take it as a reference point, because tomorrow the question can be same, but at the end the contents can be different. So you have to learn the skill of writing any answer, be generative. Now, chartered accountant significant growth during a periodic internal assessment of the firm's quality control system. See the keyword. From this, you understand that this is from SQC1 or chapter 1. The following observations were made. Loyal and Co. often accept new engagement based on the referral from the existing client. That's fine. See, in marriage proposals also, rather than straight away into shadi.com, if some our relatives refer us, we have got more confidence on such referrals. But problem is, they blindly believe. They accept the client without proper evaluation of the client's reputation, integrity of the management, potential risk. See, even relatives also want, like, see, I have told that proposal, but please you do your inquiries. Tomorrow we cannot blame that relative. No, you referred this proposal. Similarly, when the client refers me another client, it becomes our responsibility to verify the integrity or the client's reputation. The firm is following the same quality control policies for several years without updating them for the recent changes in the professional standards. See, this is called an L2 level question because they are testing two concepts now. One concept is about your element number 3, client acceptance, and another concept is element number 6, monitoring, because you are supposed to monitor from time to time and keep updating. Follow, no? Like this, they will mix. And in the examination, same MTP may come, and instead of element number 6, they can put element number 4. They can plug and play. But whatever they play, you have the concepts with you, no, here. These are all your concepts. You have got a mind map. So if tomorrow they tell in the dal, don't put this thing, okay, put pepper, you should be in a position to just give them whatever they are asking for. They ask dal fry, you give dal fry. You ask a dal sambar, you give dal sambar. Now, identify, you see the question, identify the elements of system of quality control. Let's case 1. So, we have got two elements here, element number 3 and element number 6. That's why the keyword is identified. So, since you have got two, if you have to ask me mark allocation, I'll show you steps also. There's something called a step marking. I'll show you one of the students' answer sheet. See, definitely 2 marks will be allocated for identifying what element it is. So you have to tell in a clear word. Then briefly explain how these elements contribute to quality. Now you have to explain that. The first element is your acceptance and the client intent. So you have to say integrity, competency, and compliance. Maybe 1 mark to identify this, 1 mark for this, and they have to bold solely on the referral without proper evaluation. This is a clearly deficiency in the element. You can write some story, okay, why this is important. You can go back to the study material and rewrite the study material content. You need not write what they have given here. You can write something more also, okay, and it will help to decide about the integrity, competence. Second thing is monitoring, which we are yet to come. So from you need to have a policies and procedure that you are going to update adequately, updating from time to time. So you have to evaluate, periodic inspection should happen. The firm has not been doing, so there is a lapse. These elements are crucial to ensure the firm to undertake only appropriate engagement and quality control framework remains updated, effective. Okay, so they asked you why it is required. So this you are explaining, briefly explaining. Okay, so now look at this particular thing. Okay, you can mark it as a priority question because there is one element. See, first of all, you are identifying the elements of this quality control. So you identified element number 1, element number 2. Then they say briefly explain how these elements contribute. Okay, so they are expecting you to explain this element also. So 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark here. And they asked you one more question here, last question. How these elements contribute to quality control? See, this is one answer. I don't know whether you will be seeing in the study material or not. So this is something extra they have given because they will help you to ensure that appropriate engagements have been taken, quality control framework remains updated, okay, in view of recent growth of the corporate clients. So this is maybe 1 mark. See, forget, you have not written this. Let us assume you don't know. If you are able to address this, at least 80%, like 4 out of 5 marks did you not score? And what they are expecting? What you should be your goal objective here? Take your 60 marks in audit, finish. See, 40% still you can take a risk, no students. So you need not write a perfect answer, no. But write whatever you know. Okay, now you see one more May 24 examination. PQR Associates, a statutory auditor of a large company engaged in a manufacturing. Their subsequent reappointment at the AGM, they shared appointment letter seeking acknowledgement and acceptance letter. The engagement partner is planning to issue the acceptance letter. During the current financial, there is a search by the income tax authority. Okay, that means, please see, understand, friend. They are unlisted company. Reappointment as an auditor, that means you already have got a relationship. It is not a new client. You already have. Anyhow, they have been reappointed. So now question comes, should you accept this reappointment or not? You come to know one new information about the client, that income tax raid has happened. Now income tax raid, result into what? Doubt about the integrity of the client. Okay, because till now you thought they are very good, but suddenly income tax raid happened. That means, are they doing number two business there? Are they involved in smuggling, tax evasion? Because your name will get spoiled now. Again, I will tell every time. See, Nirav Modi problem comes, then question of who is the auditor of Nirav Modi will come. Who is the auditor of PNB will come. See, these are all the auditors' name will come now. Certain accounting records were seized for verification, and then you saw in the social media, based on the information, she noted that the promoter's brother is contemplating to contest in the elections under the banner of one political party. Again, risk. Okay, because you get associated with one organization who is politically interested. One of the current senior engagement team member who has been doing audit has left seat. Now, this is your problem with the competence. You don't have appropriate people. PQR associates are yet to recruit new people. Now, question comes, should you accept? Elaborate the matters to be considered by the PQR with respect to the acceptance and continuance. Okay, clear words are given in the examination. See, beautifully they have given considering the above issues. So now, very first thing, you need to quote this particular thing. As per SQC1, this is the 3 element. Then you have identified the issues. Okay, where the issues have been identified, you have to say how you have documented it, because if they still want to continue with the engagement, they have to document, like how they have addressed that employment, like that resignation issue, how they have addressed the income tax issue, how they have addressed this person's social media issue. Okay, so in view of the above, you need to communicate clearly the scope of the engagement, about the responsibilities of both parties, any limitations to be services provided. If they add, then only you can give, because scope related confusion is not there. In the solution, they have simply given some scope related confusion. That problem is not there. Continuously monitor the client relationship, because income tax search has happened. You have to evaluate the risk of misstatement. Then you have to check, because political parties funding activities have started, because they can divert the fund of the organization to the political party's donation, because somebody is contesting in the election. Now they need money. You see, again, Rajesh Exports, what is the accusations there? That in the promoter's account, some 350 crores have gone. See, what these people can do, what promoters can do, they can take the funds from funds of the business, and they can give to the political party donation. They can spend for their election. Now, since brother is having a dominant position, they can have an influence on the managing director. They can get, so your assessment of the risk is going to increase now. Now, question comes about the objectivity and independence. Okay, because political activities you have to evaluate. Since the senior manager has gone, whether who is in the engagement providing certain accounting services, you should assess whether it would have any impact on the audit and examine the ethical or independent. Ethical requirement in the sense, you can check whether competency, whether you can do that. Ensure engagement team possesses necessary competence. Okay, and you should be able to devote adequate time. Okay, now let me show you, students. See, out of this, you can write about the integrity. See, they said considering the above issues. See, one element is you have to talk about this. This may fetch you 1 to 2 marks. I don't know. Then there are 3 issues. I can assume, okay, we will get 2 marks to quote these 3 points with the documentation. Then there are 3 issues. One, political party issue. Second, your income tax issue. And third, your what is that called? The person who have left, resignation issue. Now, 1 mark, they may allot few for 1 type of issues. Okay, let me show you one student's answer, what he has written. You see, students, that answer doesn't properly bring this particular element. Huh? This particular element it doesn't bring. So, straight away they get into this problem here. You see here, following are the matters to be considered by the reappointment of the auditor with respect to the outcome of the client relationship, like management integrity. Did they, if you go back to the study material, is it called management integrity? No, it is the integrity of the, it is not management, the integrity of the promoters and the key managerial persons. You cannot, management integrity becomes a very generic word. Okay, pressure with the scope and lowering of the fees, demand of the management, change. Okay, I think this is also must have been there. I might have missed it. They must have spoken about the scope there or reducing the fees. Okay, skill and knowledge required to perform the engagement. See, actually, this could have been awarded with 1 mark. See, anyhow, they have missed it. So this risk is also there. This is systemic risk. This is a part of your overall risk. Students, we understood there are two types of risk: overall risk, assertion level risk. We will focus on this. They have been given 1 mark for the senior engagement team partner. Okay, I think this is the same point they have addressed. That 1 mark is given for that related to that engagement team work, because they are telling skilled engagement. The same thing that a student is speaking. That's why if you see here, step 1, you didn't get any marks. What is that step 1? You are supposed to tell this theory. This is your step 1. This is your step 1. You are supposed to tell that. Step 2, you are supposed to connect this theory to the issues in the problem. How many issues are there? Say 4 issues are there. How many issues you will tell? Accordingly, you will get. So you identified 1 issue, you got 1. So scoring is very easy, students. So make a practice. There are only 2 things. Whenever you read any question, 2 things you need to see. 1, which chapter this belongs to. Second, what issue is there in this particular case study or question. Okay, chalo. So we have understood. Now, yes, we have seen that if we are talking about client acceptance, okay, going forward, I'll call it as a client acceptance in a simple word, because it is the acceptance or continuance of relationship or specific engagement. We will call it by one word called client acceptance. Client acceptance has got 3 elements called integrity, competency, ethics. Now question comes, how do you know about integrity of the people? We already discussed. Okay, what are the factors? See, you have to mark it important, because they have given you in the box with one brown color. See, I say is giving you hint. See, these are all very important in your study material. Now, with the regard to the integrity of the client, how do you know when new client comes to you, they are integral? So you have to consider certain matters like identify identity and business reputation of the principal owners, key managerial persons, related parties, and TCWG. Like I told you, what business they are into, what is their family background, what family business they are. This is what we check for the engagement also, marriage proposals. What is the nature of the client's operations, including business practices? Are they into overseas business? Because I got a problem now. If you have got overseas business, see ROMM increases, see Rajesh exports. I'll give the same example, which is much relevant. I don't know the truth there, but based on what I read, we understand that all the sales have been booked from the Singapore subsidiary, whose parent is sitting in some other company, and their parent is in India. That means the sale is not happening through Rajesh Export. It is happening through a sub-subsidiary which is sitting in a foreign country. Same thing happened with Satyam also. Lot of fake revenues were booked in the foreign subsidiary. So you please understand the nature of the client's operation, their business practices. What is the information about the attitude of the client's principal owners, such as aggressive interpretation of accounting standards and internal controls? Like they wanted to perform certain, like say for example, I'll show you one more question. Aggressive interpretation of accounting standards means, see, for example, standard says provide depreciation. Ideally, say you may have to provide 20% depreciation, but 20% depreciation, like for example, I'm just giving an example, but providing 20% depreciation may reduce your profits. So you interpret that depreciation clause or standard in such a way, you end up giving only say 5% depreciation, and you try to convince management, to the auditor, no, this is our business requirement, this is how we pay. Why? Because you want to increase your profit by say 15%. So this is called the attitude. Be careful with them, because if they say that my rabbit has got only 3 legs and they don't want to listen to you, you will have a lot of fights and argument with such people. So better to avoid, no, first only, unnecessarily, because they will not listen to you. You end up giving qualified opinion. They will try to pull your leg, and you have a lot of cash problems, a business problem. Whether client is aggressively concerned with the client's fees low. Now one question comes to it. Why somebody want to maintain the low fees? See, first you see their reputed business background. Okay, they are poor. They don't have much cash. They don't have good sales. Yes, they say low fees. Makes sense. Yes, makes sense. because they are not able to afford to pay the audit fees. But if you see, then there is no question of integrity because that is a genuine business requirement. Agreed. But if you see, there are some people who are really rich, they are making good money. They have got fantastic cash reserve, but they want to give you low fee. Why? Do they want to save money? No. Here the intention may be something different, students. Please understand. If somebody is offering you a low fees, they don't want you to work more. Please understand. The company wants you to spend less time. Since your fees is low, you cannot afford to put a 10 article students and 20 clients, 20 staff on that client. So what you do, since the fees is low, you may end up managing with the 2 staff and 2 clients, or whatever, 2 audit staff plus 2 article students. So since you are not devoting sufficient time on the client, so a lot of the material misstatement can get missed. That's why be careful the client who offers low fees, who has got good money. Indicators of inappropriate limitation on the scope. First only they tell, don't look into this. Okay, foreign subsidiary, you should not speak. CEO is always an angry bird. Be careful. Client may be involved in money laundering or other criminal activities. The income tax raid, money laundering, it can be happening. In the enforcement directorate may raid. Reasons for the proposed engagement of the firm and non-reappointment of the previous firm. Like previous auditors have, they are shifting. Okay, again in professional ethics also we are going to speak about it. There is a requirement to figure out like why you are getting appointed and not the previous one. Is it more because of, like, for example, this in marriage also we have similar thing, like marriage proposal, last marriage proposal they broke. Don't you ask now why after engagement you broke that previous marriage? Because this shows you the risk, no, integrity problem. So why you are appointing us, not the previous auditor? This information can help you to know about the integrity. Okay, is it because last auditor gave qualified opinion, they didn't listen to you? Then there is a problem. We cannot accept your engagement. The extent of the knowledge of the firm generally grow on an ongoing relationship with the client. So the more and more you interact, no, you understand your client better and better. Now you have got the test your knowledge 5 questions. So from now we will move a bit faster, students. Okay, you have to study that. This is the priority 1 question I told you, because they have given you in the box. This question has not been asked till now in the examination. Now there is one audit firm. They have established 7 years back. One audit firm. The firm getting new clients and offered a new engagement with the existing clients. I told you, continuing acceptance of relationship means first time you got one client, new client, or specific engagement. That means already you have got a relationship, another engagement you got. The firm is considered about obtaining information necessary before accepting the engagement and acceptance of the new engagement with the existing client. This is your keyword. With this, you understand that this is from your chapter 1. Now, the firm is looking to work only with the select clients to assess the quality control standard. So, like this, you are very clear that this belongs to chapter number 1. Now, guide about the matters to be considered. Okay, in chapter number 1, which concept they are asking me? Are they asking me all the 3 elements, integrity, competence, and am I supposed to write there? You can write, but you will not fetch any marks. Because what they are asking you, specific matters connected to the integrity of the client as per SQC 1. Okay, with regard to the integrity, what are the examples of matters? So they can tell you, give me matters to be considered. They can say, tell me the examples of matters. Why? Because this is auditor may consider. I told you. See, if I go back to the theory, this is auditor should, auditor shall, because this is part of the requirement. These are all the examples, explanatory material. Okay, these are all the auditors may consider. These are all the possible things. Okay, so now identity, nature of the operation. So you have to write. So any 5 point you write, you will get 5 marks. Now, have they asked you anything on the issue to be addressed here, that there is an issue, okay, and still you accepted the engagement? If such thing comes, you need to write the documentation part also. That means if you have identified the issue, that how you have addressed that issue. This may fetch 1 mark, this may be 4 mark. So depending upon the question, if the question is silent, if they ask only about the examples of matter, you can just write this. I hope it's clear, students. Okay. Chalo, first part, you are very clear. Integrity of the client. In considering whether firm is capable, competent, time and resources, what all the matters you may have to consider. So there can be another examination question. So the first element has got this 6 or 7 sub factors. Now, what are the factors you consider for your capability and competence? Now, firm's personnel have got the relevant industry knowledge or subject matter. Like for example, one client comes to you and they are Ind AS compliant. Say for example, I cleared CA in the year 2007. Or people who cleared in the year 2000 or whatever before 2018. If they have not come across Ind AS, then how do they do the audit of Ind AS? Then they have to learn. You have got only 2 choices. Either you reject the engagement or you have to learn the audit, learn the standard. So first question you see yourself, that whether the firm's personnel have the knowledge of the relevant industries or the subject matters. Okay, knowledge of the industry is required because you need to identify the risk, because your every audit risk starts with the business risk. So someone has to have the knowledge of the industry and they need to have an experience with the regulatory and reporting requirement. I told you, AS, Ind AS. Or the ability to gain the skills and knowledge effectively. That means either you should be having that knowledge of Ind AS or you should be able to get the knowledge, get yourself trained and learn Ind AS. It's not required that you should have had it for the CA final. Like for example, GST. We didn't have it, but we should get that ability to learn it. You should that's why that's a learning skill. So you need to see, can this person learn it? This is what you need to evaluate. Third, firm has sufficient personnel with the necessary capability and competence. That means you need to have sufficient people. See, one is, do you have? That's the first question. If the answer is yes, second question, are they sufficient? Yes, I have got one person, but 20 Ind AS audit I cannot allot to one person. No. Now, if I don't have, can I get experts from outside? See, I don't want to leave my cash. I don't want to leave the client. So first thing, if I don't want to leave the client, I need to have people with me. If they are not knowledgeable, then I have to train them. If in-house people are not available, I should seek another practicing CS, make an arrangement with them. Like I need to bring experts. Now, individuals meeting the criteria and eligibility requirements to perform the engagement quality control review are available wherever applicable. See, we will discuss about this. This is called a EQCR. If you are engaged into the listed entity audit, you need to have a compulsory EQCR. So, if you are getting a listed entity audit and you don't have any provisions for EQCR, like people for doing EQCR are not available with you, you cannot accept such engagement. And the firm should be able to complete the engagement within the reporting deadline. See, when we learn about chapter 19, we see that in professional misconduct, there are 2 schedules, schedule 1 and schedule 2. And schedule 2, one of the professional misconduct is if you are not able to do the time within deadline, no, it becomes a professional misconduct. Please be careful. That's why audit firms don't accept the work at the last moment, because it becomes on their head. So these are all the factors you have to evaluate. Okay, let us see one RTP question. Okay, and if there is any conflict of interest, the firm and the client should properly resolve before accepting it. Let us see one RTP question. What they are asking, how they will ask you this question. There is one audit firm appointed as an auditor of a listed entity. Be careful. Listed entity means EQCR comes into picture. Is a pharmaceutical company, complex global operations. Okay, so they are into globe. So ROMM is going to increase. Excessive R&D they are doing. CA Rishi is an engagement partner of the firm, leading the audit team for the audit of the same. Okay, understood. So there is one engagement partner. Students, you should be able to make one single line. This entire theory, in your mind, there should be one line. In one crux. Okay, that there is one firm which is complex global operation. Engagement partner is there. He was previously, Neuronics were audited by the Big Four that withdraw from the engagement citing scope limitations. See, now integrity problem comes because unnecessary scope limitation they must have done. You are getting appointed now. So your previous audit firms have been walked away. During audit planning, now you are in a planning stage. CA Rishi realizes that her, oh, Rashi, not Rishi, sorry. CA Rashi realizes, and it doesn't matter, engagement partner realizes, her team is skilled in standard manufacturing audit and they lack experience in R&D. Okay, now it becomes her responsibility to go back and inform to the firm that, look sir, this is the problem we are facing, because we are facing competency problem. Otherwise tomorrow it will come on her head now, and ultimately it will come on the firm's head. The firm is under a pressure to complete the audit in time to meet the listing obligations. Okay, because you are already listed quarterly. You have got deadlines because investors are always waiting. What is the audited financial numbers? The managing partner is insisting on continuing the audit and advises Rashi to rely on the firm's standard procedures to complete the delivery. See, this is not good. That means the tone at the top, they are considering the commercial considerations. They don't want to hire new people. This is not proper. Now, I don't know what question they are going to ask, but when we are reading this, somewhere our mind says that this must be related to chapter 1. In light of SQC1, chalo, finish. We identified that this is from the chapter 1 only. Analyze the quality control considerations you must evaluate before continuing with the engagement. See, now you are already accepted now. Now question comes, should you continue? What action should you take to uphold the quality and the professional standards? See, there are two questions now. One is the quality considerations, factors you need to evaluate because you lack the skill. That is one of the biggest problems you have because you don't have a people with the proper skills. And second issue here is the time deadline. Okay, so it's going to create a lot of problem now. So what action should you take? Okay, now you say as per SQC1. Okay, up to here they have given the name of the SQC only. You are required to evaluate whether you have got competency, capability and resources to undertake the engagement. So what are the factors you need to consider? Whether you have got persons with the knowledge, okay, regulatory requirements, personnel having skill and capability, experts, individual. And then they said, in light of SQC1 and SA220. Okay, now you are supposed to quote something on SA220 also because this is an audit. Now SA220, okay, this is the name of the standard, has responsibility. The responsibility of engagement partner in this regard in an audit engagement is on lines with SQC, which requires firm to obtain information necessary with the new client when deciding whether to existing and when considering accepting. That means first thing, it becomes the engagement partner's responsibility now, because firm will not come to know should I continue or not. Like for example, again as an analogy, now marriage proposal happens. Okay, I told you, no, there is a marriage proposal. This is a boy, this is a girl. Now the girl's father would have evaluated all the three elements. Yes, integrity is fine, competency is fine, ethical requirement fine, and marriage happens. Now the moment, and who is this person, who is this guy who has took that responsibility? The managing partner or CEO. That's why we are talking about SQC1. Now once the marriage is done, it becomes whose responsibility now? Father's responsibility is done. Once the marriage is done, it becomes this girl's responsibility. She has to update because she was not aware what that boy's family is, because they must have presented one very good face. But after you go there, then you realize the face, the story is totally different. Now I can say this girl is more like an engagement partner. Father is more like a CEO. Now engagement standard SA220 applies to her. SQC1 applies to him. Now she has to gather that information. Should I continue or not to continue? And she has to give this back to the family, to the managing director. I hope this analogy is clear to you, because see, friends, try to remember like this. So you will be much more clear, because I could see the connection of the concepts. So this is what they say now. So now comes SA220. This is the firm level. Will they give you 5 marks for this? No. Because in light of SQC1 and 220. So my guess, no, somewhere 2 marks they can allocate for this, for telling any 2 points, which is more relevant. Don't bring expert and all, any 2 points. You can tell 4 or 5 points. Since they said SQC, you have to tell the responsibility of the engagement partner to gather the continuing information, because the question here is, should I continue? Maybe 1 mark. Information like the integrity of the principal owners, competency of the team, etc., resources, etc., they can be much more appropriate. In the given case, yes, you lack expertise. Previous auditors have given integrity warning sign. They have lacked relevant expertise in the R&D section, and without addressing, you proceed, you are violating SQC 1 and 220. So Rashi should not proceed. Maybe 1 mark here, 1 mark for identifying the issue. They have to check, and they asked you, how should you proceed now? Assess the firm's capability, understand the reasons for the withdrawal of the previous auditors, and ensure that EQCR reviewer is appointed, because this is a listed entity. So reviewer has to be appointed, and they are going to complete the review. This will help you to maintain the quality. So I hope, students, you are very clear. You have seen now how they will ask you. See, again, this cannot be one independent. This can come as one full independent question, and this can be part of the one of the question. You see here, one element is this, one element is this, considering considerations and what you should do for upholding the quality. See, they will mix and give you. Your focus should be on the ingredients, and these are all your conceptual ingredients. Done? Yes. Now, where the firm obtains the information. Now, chalo, you got one information. You could have got that information at the time of accepting, or you could have got it continuing later. That would have caused it to decline the engagement if that information was earlier. Okay. So what happened now? See, first of all, if you have got certain information during acceptance only, what you would have done? You would have stopped. You would not have accepted. But the problem is, at the time of acceptance, you didn't know the client was so and so. They are involved in money laundering activities. Later you come to know. What if you would have come to know earlier only? Then see, you need to have policies and procedures, friends. You need to have some policies and procedure to address this type of issues also. Okay, you need to have policies with the continuance of the engagement and the relationship, which includes consideration of professional and legal responsibilities applied to the circumstance, and requirement of the firm to report to the persons. Like, for example, you are into the audit of a bank, and suddenly you realize that the bank is involved in the money laundering activity. First thing is, you have to discontinue with that engagement because the integrity is not fine. Second, do you have any reporting requirements? Yes, you are supposed to report to RBI. You are an auditor of one manufacturing company. They are involved in money laundering activity. Do you have any reporting requirement? Yes, you have got a reporting requirement to government, central government, or you have got reporting requirement to the audit committee for section 145 subsection 12. So, sir, 143 subsection 12, fraud reporting. Other than that, no, you should not report. You have got a confidentiality. Please understand that. That's why you have to consider. If I come across this type of issues, whom should I report now? Like, for example, like I'll go back here. Now the girl comes and tells father now, like, this is the problem happening. Now father should have a policies and procedure. Abruptly should not advise. What they should do first, they should discuss. Should you discuss with the boy or should you discuss with the parent? That's called one procedure now. You need to follow some set of procedure. The possibility of withdrawing from the engagement, or decide both from the engagement and relationship. So if you come across any error, any problems, that means some problems are happening, something is not working out. You may decide to come out of that engagement, but continue the relationship. Like, for example, you are the treasury auditor also, you are the statutory auditor also. The person who was handling treasury audit left the organization. Yes, you got into a problem now. Why? Because at the time of acceptance of the client, you didn't have a competency problem. But after you have accepted the client, one of the very key person who was doing treasury audit left. Now the engagement partner's responsibility is to bring it to the knowledge of the managing partner. Now the managing partner has to make a choice now. Should I continue with this? Should I hire somebody new? Or I have to leave this? Okay, so you may decide to come out of that treasury audit engagement, but continue with the relationship. You continue with the stat audit. You see, the integrity of the client only is the problem. In such cases, no, I will end up both the treasury audit also, stat audit also. So you end up with the ending with the relationship. So this is the policy you need to develop. Okay, chalo, you agreed to decide. You decided that I will withdraw from the engagement. You say we will agree to decide to withdraw from the engagement. What should be your policies and procedure? Very important, students. I think this has already come for the exam. You need not focus much. What are the policies and procedure for the engagement or from the engagement and relationship? Yes, first thing you have to discuss with the appropriate level of the client's management and TCWG. You cannot simply advise your daughter, hey, please come, pack up and come. You have to discuss with the appropriate people. Problem can be here, not here. You have to address that, no, Baba. So you cannot abruptly take the decision. So first step always for this father, because the issue has got escalated to the CEO now. There is some continuance problem or acceptance problem. First, you have to discuss with the appropriate level of management regarding the actions the firm might take based on the relevant facts and information. You have to tell. Now, if the firm determines it is appropriate to withdraw, okay, chalo, finally they decided we will withdraw. You have to discuss with the appropriate level of the client's management and TCWG of the withdrawal along with the reasons. See, please understand, you cannot straight away withdraw. It becomes a professional misconduct also. You have to quote the proper reasons, and ethical standard board comes into picture. We will study in chapter 19. And considering, is there any professional? Who is professional here? ICAI. Are you supposed to inform ICAI? Yes, ethical standard board. Regulatory. Who is regulatory? RBI, SEBI. Are you supposed to inform SEBI or RBI? Or legal requirement like central government through section 143. You have got a legal requirement to inform. Firm to report the withdrawal of the engagement. Are you supposed to report to them? This is what you need to see. See, student, if in the examination they ask you this question, what is your procedure when you decide? You have to write this theory, okay? These are the three critical. You need not write in the same language, but this point should come that you have to discuss with the appropriate level of the management and TCWG. If you determine to withdraw, then also you have to discuss. And finally, you should consider reporting to professional, regulatory or legal requirements. And finally, fourth element is to document the significant issues. So 4 marks you are going to get this 4. See, there is one test your knowledge 6 question. Let us see how they will ask you this particular concept. Okay, so there is one test your understanding. They have given you what all the factors to be evaluated if you want to take up the engagement. Okay, just you have to look into the integrity. Okay, so current client is involved in a money laundering activity. Now test your knowledge question. This question has come in the old examination, November 22. Then they have added in your test your knowledge question. It has repeated this so many times in MTP model test papers. Now AP Associates are the statutory auditors of XP Limited for last 4 years. That means the question here is not with the acceptance, but the question is here with the continuance. Maybe if we figure out. XP is engaged in the manufacturing and making of FMCG goods. The company has diversified and commenced providing software solutions also in the e-commerce. Okay, your ROMM increases because first time you are into FMCG and you have jumped into one e-commerce. It's a new business for you. AP Associates, while carrying out the audit for the current financial year, came to know the company has expanded its operations into new segment as well as into new geography. Clear cut high risk now. And you do not possess necessary expertise and infrastructure to carry out such audit. See, this is not within your control, no, Baba. Because you cannot tell them you don't go to foreign countries, you don't get into this, because that is their business strategy of XP Limited. But if they are into e-commerce, are you capable to do that e-commerce audit? Do you have that knowledge of that foreign countries reporting standards? You figured out you don't have. So this is the question, and you decided to withdraw from the engagement relationship because this is the only one client. So this is the only one engagement you had with this client. You didn't have a multiple relationship, otherwise multiple engagement. If you had a multiple engagement, you might have discontinued one engagement but continued with the relationship. But this is the only one client with one engagement. You decided to withdraw. Discuss the issues needs to be addressed before deciding to withdraw. Very clear cut, fantastic question, student. Answer is a very straightforward. So you have to tell about the firm should establish the policies and relationship for the competence part. This is that integrity, competency, ethical requirement. I need not tell about integrity, and here I can just talk about this particular point. In the given case, don't need to write. So what is that you supposed to do? Discuss with the rebel, withdraw if you consider, report to the regulatory requirement, document. These are all the factors you need to address. You will get 4 marks for this and maybe 1 mark for writing this. And have they told about the relevant standard and all? No. So this you write everywhere the name of the standard, but it's not going to fetch you marks. I hope it's clear. Yes. So this is all about your client acceptance and the relationship. Yeah, before we proceed, I just want to tell you one more thing. See, if you are not able to attend my class live, and you may decide to watch in the, say, my lecture, recorded lectures. See, my request, please don't go with the speed of, say, 100 kilometer or 200 kilometers. Go slow. See, because this is what I do. What I do, I suggest, because see, my perspectives are a bit different. I will tell you, I'll give an analogy to you. See, when you are driving at a speed of, say, 100 kilometer, your entire focus is on the road. Will you be able to enjoy the nature? And if I ask you one question, okay, did you see that shop? You say, which shop? Where shop? Why? Because your focus is on completing the lecture. Your focus is not on understanding the component. This is the big problem happens when speed comes into picture, because our focus gets diverted. So develop a habit of slowing down yourself. That's very important. Okay, just think whenever I tell something, you see, you get connected to that concept. Think. So when you're driving slow, see, you have got a lot of time there. You can see this side, that side, enjoy the nature, and see a lot of things you remember in your journey. But if you're rushing, no, you don't remember. You remember only one thing. Okay, I completed, I reached the destination. What is the fun? You should enjoy the journey, right? This is my philosophy. And one more thing I want to tell you, friends. Yeah, I'm a bit sorry. I'm a bit slow here, but I'm going to assure you, I'll be completing much faster in the upcoming days. And you only will tell me. You will be comfortable also. Initial days we will go a bit slow, and I told you, know, this 100 hours, I want to share a lot of thoughts about my thoughts with you. It is your choice whether to take it or not to take it, but give you a thought for what I'm going to tell. No, because I just wanted to tell actually in the beginning of my session, because a lot of noise is going on, like ICA paper is getting leaked, and your AI paper, ICA setting paper through AI. Students, I will just tell you one thing. See, you are into tapasya. Okay, you are doing tapasya, and we have seen in the Purana history, whatever, whenever somebody is doing tapasya, what is that tapasya means? Focus. There are a lot of demons, lot of gods or whoever. So many people will come to distract you, because everybody wants your attention. They don't want you to focus on something. They want them to you focus on themselves, focus on what they listen. So they want to distract you. See, when you are into a journey, just to focus on something. And what you should focus, I will say, you just focus on ICAI. Finish. Don't get into anything. Okay, now I will want to give you something more focus on the concept of ICAI also. See, just in my previous session only, I told you, you can treat ICAI like mother, your wish. You can treat ICAI like a customer, your wish. I will give you one more perspective. Okay, because you say, sir, mother means you are bringing emotion. Okay, you are emotional, take it. Customer means you are bringing logic there. Okay, I am telling you logic. I will bring you one more logic, students. You can apply this in the life also. In fact, if you observe closely, ICAI do not exist only, no. ICAI exists in our imagination. In fact, ICAI is nothing but a system. Please understand. Because I will tell you now how people will try to, how lot of people will come and try to manipulate you, distract you with something do not exist only. Please understand. See what happens in our life. If you observe ourselves, we are into some system. It can be a family, it can be a religion, it can be a caste, it can be an office, it can be a state, it can be a country. You are already always you are caught into one system. The moment you are registered, you are caught into ICA system. Tomorrow you go to hospital, you got into an hospital system. You go to a court, you get caught in one system. You are into one system. You have to be into one system. And when my this is the principle I follow in my life, students, and I want you to follow because I want you to focus. Okay, when you are into system, see, I have 3 choices in my life. There are more choices, 4 choices also there. The first choice is, see, this is also system. We are talking to each other. We are into system now. I am talking, you are listening. Change. See, what you can change. If you feel that this is not correct, please speak up. Gather that courage. If you see, sir, your lecture is not correct, see, this is what you need to tell. Please speak, please tell. See, to what extent you can change, please change. Or adapt. Whatever system is there, you adapt. You live with it. Okay, you figure out like how to manage yourself there, or leave. These are all the 3 choices, practical choices, what I feel and I follow in my life. And I'm into any system. Either you change the system, or adapt to the system, or leave the system, but never complain, because nothing is going to happen. And the moment you start complaining, I will tell you what happens. No, all the people will come, okay, and they try to grab your attention, telling this is the. If you see, I say is just a system, Baba. It is made up of you and me only, no. Tomorrow you also can get into the system, we get elected, go there, change the system. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of courage, or adapt, like what I have done, adapt to it. Or leave if you are not okay. Somebody is cursing ICA is like this. Leave the membership and go. No, they don't do. They are telling for you because they are playing with your emotions. Please understand. And you get distracted. So why I'm telling you this, friends, see, like this type of incidents are happening, will happen with you also. My point is very simple. Whatever happens, you just to focus on ICA. You don't get distracted with your books. Who is ICA for you now? Books are your ICA. Put your attention on the books. Finish. Nobody can distract you. Done. Hello. Hope you got the message. Let us go to the next element called a human resource. Yes, the firm should establish policies and procedures. Means, what is policies and procedure? Internal control or control system or quality control system. You can call it by different names. The firm should establish internal controls. Firm should establish quality control system or policies and procedure designed to provide with the reasonable assurance, because any internal control will give only reasonable assurance that it has got sufficient personnel with the capability, competence and commitment to perform its engagement as per the standards, legal requirement and regulatory requirement. Okay, that means you need to have a proper HR system, and that HR department or function should address the relevant HR issues like recruitment, compensation, training, career development, performance evaluation, etc. So I hope this is also happening in your audit office. You see, interview happens, sufficient compensation is given for you, training is given, career development, promotion. So these are all the things should be happening. So the firm should assign the responsibility for each engagement to an engagement partner. I told you, for every engagement, there is one responsibility on the engagement. There should be one engagement partner. Like for example, there is a caterer. In Mangalore, we have got one famous caterer called a Kamath caterer. See, there is one head, CEO for this. They have got different engagement. For every engagement, you see, there is one person who handles. You see, when you go for any marriage function, there is a caterer. And one person is running from here and there, managing, overtell. See, that is called an engagement partner. They simply don't send the employees. Mess only. So you need to have appropriate engagement partner. That this Kamath caterer also, if they have, you are accepting 20 functions, you need to have 20 people. You see, you might have also experienced. I also experienced it. When I went there for one of the function, they said they rejected. No, we cannot do. Why? Maybe they are lacking that engagement partner. Otherwise, no mess happens, and tomorrow whose name is spoiled? Kamath, okay, that caterer's name is spoiled. So, assign should the engagement partner. So, the firm should have policies and procedure to identify, and the identity and role of the engagement partners are communicated to the key members of the client management and TCWG. You see, this same catering person also will do the same thing. He will give the number of this engagement partner and say, okay, any issue you please talk to him. Don't call me, because I'm a managing partner here. So what you should do, first of all, when you talk about HR should have policies and procedure for HR issues. Second, you need to have responsibility. Third, you need to communicate. I can say this is organizational, this is operational. Having engagement partner, having good policy is not sufficient. Who is that engagement partner for your firm, for your engagement? What is that person's role? You have to communicate with the key members of the client. The engagement partner has appropriate capability, competency, and time to perform the role. That means the one who selected should be the one who should have proper capability and competency. The responsibility of the engagement partner are clearly defined and communicated to that partner. He himself doesn't know. See, now what happened now? There is a very clear-cut operational success now. First of all, client know whom they should talk. Second, partner know what is their work and which client they need to address. And the partner who is supposed to do has got that capability and the competence. Then done, no success, right? Then the catering function, whatever they will be able to cater, they will take the decisions, they will get the additional rice or whatever. They will see to it that the function is perfect. And they need to have the time also, sufficient time also. So each engagement team should carry out the responsibility with the necessary competency and skill, whatever. Commitment with the commitment of towards the quality. See, they have not asked any questions on this. So this question can be highly important. You can mark it as important. HR, because if you see no test your knowledge question, no MCQ, no nothing. So they may ask you, and they have given you this in the box. Please mark this as important. Okay, next is your engagement performance. Okay, with this, no, maybe in the next session we will try to, today evening, no, we will try to make a map, students. Okay, we will try to complete this. Now, what is engagement performance? Engagement performance, see, first thing you started with the leadership responsibility. You are done. Ethical requirement, you are done. Client acceptance, you are done. HR, you are very good. Now, how you need to perform? Now the time comes to perform. So the next element what you have got, the fifth element what you have got is called the engagement performance. Now consistency in quality of the engagement performance is assured by briefing the engagement team. So how you can bring one consistent performance? So every time you should brief the objectives, processes for complying with the standards, processes for supervision and training, methods of reviewing the work, and appropriate documentation. Again, I will bring the same catering. You see, no, before they go, they will brief their team. Have you gone to McDonald's? You see, in the morning, the manager will brief their team. So there is every McDonald's joint will have one manager. Every Domino's joint will have one manager. That manager will have sufficient staff. And at the everyday morning, you please go and check. They brief their team. They give tell the vision, values, today their target or whatever. They speak about it. So this way you bring a consistency in the performance. So how do you bring that? By communicating, briefing the objectives, supervision and training, methods of reviewing, and the documentation of the work. Okay. Now engagement performance has got certain elements called what if you come across difficult matter. These are all the different scenarios. Like for example, I'm taking a Domino's. Now somebody come across one very difficult situation. What they should do now? Like they went to deliver, the customer is not available there. What should that person do? Second, EQCR. Okay, engagement quality control review. And third is difference of opinion. And fourth is engagement documentation. So when we talk about the engagement performance, you see students, leadership is done. Okay, we'll talk about the engagement performance, which is the fifth element. engagement performance has got 4 sub concepts. The concept number 1 is consultation. Concept number 2, okay, there is one more, the first one, so direction, supervision and all. We will talk about high level concepts, EQCR. Concept number 3, difference of opinion. And the concept number 4 is documentation. Okay, now let us understand. What is consultation for difficult or contentious matter? Now, something like you are not able to judge, like difficult matter. Like for example, I can come back to the catering. Now, the client told 200 people guests will come, and suddenly you see 300 and say 400 people are there in the hall. Now, somebody has to observe the issue. Now, there is a problem now. Huh? Because again the blame game will come now. Okay, so many issues will happen. So what they should do now? This is one difficult matter now. Suddenly you unexpectedly you faced one difficult matter. The very first thing is you have to have a consultation. So consultation should take place for a difficult and contentious matter pertaining to an engagement. It includes discussion at the appropriate level with the individuals who have got specialized expertise to resolve it. Now, immediately that engagement partner should talk to the team members, like not team members, to the managing director now. He should have seek the guidance, sir, they have placed order for 200 plates, but 400 guests are there. No. That managing partner will say, first you talk to the client, okay, from this particular place, take some additional rice, okay, from here you do this thing, you take, instead of serving on the leaf, you shift into buffet. See, you will tell certain things, no? Similarly, in the audit also you come across certain problems, like for example revenue recognition. The management is doing some practices which is not as per India's 115. Yes, immediately escalate it to the senior because you are not able to address it. Now the senior has to guide you, okay, do this particular thing, do this working, okay, take this representation from them. Okay, what it's going to do? It's going to help to promote the quality and improve the professional judgment. Now consultation procedures require consultation with those having appropriate knowledge, seniority and experience within or outside the firm on significant technical, ethical and other matters. So first thing, procedures include you have to make appropriate consultation with the appropriate people with the seniority or experience. Simply you cannot go and ask anyone. You need to have to your senior only. This you must have experienced in your audit. In the initial days when you joined as an article student, whenever you faced a problem which you didn't knew, did you ask your colleague or did you ask your senior? You must have asked your senior. And if the senior is not able to address, senior will escalate to the main boss now. Appropriate documentation has to happen. And not just that, you have to implement the conclusion. Otherwise, what's the fun in conclusion? What's the fun of consultation? First thing, see, this is very important. What is the consultation procedure? First, you escalate. Consult with the people with the appropriate knowledge. Document what they said and implement what you have done. If you have a difference of opinion, we will see that how to address it later. And sometimes you may not have someone within the firm to seek help. You may take advantage of advisory services provided by the other firms. You can ask other audit firms and take their service. Complete the proper documentation should be maintained for the issues involving results of the consultation. So this is one of the work. What you need to do? Whenever you come across difficult or contentious matters, you need to consult. What is your procedure? So this is the important conceptions up to here. This you mark. This is what you need to write for the examination. If you ask what is consultation, consultation means with the appropriate knowledge, documentation and applying it. And if you don't have sufficient resources, take this from the other people from the other firms. Fine. Now, engagement quality control review. What I can call, this is all like audit of audit. That means there is an engagement partner. He is doing something. His work is reviewed by somebody. It is not audit. I can say review of audit because it's a review. Okay, I can give you one more example. Let me connect it with the same example of catering. See students, this is my caterer, Kamath caterer or pie caterer. Let us bring pie caterer. There is also pie caterer is also there. I like pie catering. There is a pie caterer. Just me, pie caterer. The pie caterer has got two engagements. One, Pi Catering got the engage one what is that called one client who is a very ordinary client, and they have got order for 500 plate of food. At the same time, Pi Catering got an order from Mukesh Ambani. He also ordered 500 plate. Now, if I ask you one question, among both, who is risky? This is definitely risky. My ROMM is going to increase here. Risk is going to be more. Why? Arey Baba, your reputation is at stake. And if this functions turns out to be successful, your cash will be more. Now you tell me, naturally, where the MD will focus here. See, here he will send one engagement partner. He will send one engagement partner here, and engagement partner will take care of everything, because even though this function has gone for a toss, it may not make much difference because he had got so many clients, but he cannot afford to lose this client. Please understand. That's why what happens now, he has sent one engagement partner, but this managing partner always keeps an eye on this engagement partner, what he is doing, or may himself may come there, standing next to him, observing what is happening. Agree with me? Now I will say this is listed entity. This is other entity. Simple. Listed entity, you have got a risk, students, because why? Public is interested, general public, their money is there. Other, private. That means in case of other places, no, your general public is not involved. So your independent opinion, okay, it is important, but the managing partner of the company and the investor of the company is one and the same almost. But here, money belongs to someone, management is of someone. Who? In case of listed entities. That's why in such cases, this review is important. Now let us go back. Significant judgments made in the engagement should be reviewed by the engagement quality control reviewer. Now, what is that? Okay, so let us assume this is the managing partner of Pi Caterer. This is the engagement partner of Pi Caterer. Now, this engagement partner takes a lot of decisions actually during that engagement. Like he may decide not to have this product, or you may go on to like set up a buffet, or he may want to bring this item. So many decisions he may have to take. Now, why he is taking that significant decisions? It should be reviewed for taking objective view before the report is issued. The extent of review depends. So to what extent I should review depends upon the complexity and the risk. So you have got too much risk, too much complexity, too much risk, more review. The review does not reduce the responsibility of the engagement partner. Just because my managing partner is reviewing, engagement partner cannot say tata bye bye. He is still responsible for this engagement because he is the one who is signing. And it is mandatory in India for audit of all listed entities. So SQC1 says that it is, who is telling that it is mandatory? EQCR, SEBI. So this is one of the regulatory requirements that you have to have EQCR. In respect of other engagement, you decide to what extent you need to review. In all these cases, it is the firm's choice. But here, no choice. You have to do mandatorily because SEBI requirement is there that EQCR has to happen, review has to happen. Or SQC1 is telling you have to do. Okay, not SEBI, sorry. SQC1 is mandating. Okay, for all listed entities, SEBI has not told, I'm sorry. SQC1 is telling that you have to do the EQCR. And EQCR, okay, please mark this important. What they do? First of all, have you understood what is EQCR? EQCR means there is one engagement partner. There is another person who can be the managing partner or who can be anyone inside the firm or outside the firm, who is equally competent like this engagement partner, and whatever decisions this person has done, he will make a review. He will not audit. This person is doing audit. He will see, okay, overall major decisions what you have taken is proper or not. So an EQCR for an audit of financial statement of listed entity includes considering evaluation of the firm's independence in relation to specific engagement. See, students, it should not happen. Because tomorrow, if it is found that you are providing services covered by section 144, plus you are doing audit, you are disqualified on day one. Please understand, your entire efforts are gone. Your audit office was never filled only because the post was never filled because you are never into, your appointment was never proper. That's why first thing that EQCR should check, is your firm's independence is proper? You have to evaluate. Second, have you done proper consultation for difficult or contentious matters? Third, whether the working papers reflect the work performed in relation to the significant judgments, because whenever you have taken significant judgments, you are supposed to document it. Okay, when your documents show what type of judgments you have taken, okay, how much sample to select, or which so many judgments you can take, or should I perform test of controls or substantive procedure, what is the extent of substantive control, what is the timing, significant risks identified during the engagement and responses to the risk. Okay, what do you mean by significant risk? There are 6 types of significant risks which you have come across in the intermediate: risk of fraud, related party transactions, significant transaction outside the normal course of business, complexity of the transactions. Okay, so you have got the significant developments in the economic, legal changes. Okay, so these are all your significant risks. Have you identified any one of those significant risks? And what is your response? Significance and disposition of corrected and uncorrected misstatement. That means while discussing, we will come across some misstatement. How do you address these corrected misstatements? SA 450 talks about it. Uncorrected misstatements. Matters to be communicated to the TCWG and other parties, to the regulatory bodies, like as per SA 260. Have you communicated matters to be, whatever communicated to the TCWG, have you communicated them? Judgments made with regard to the materiality and significant risk as per SA 310. Have you made a proper judgment related to the materiality? Okay, significant risk. Appropriateness of the report to be issued. Okay, so these are all the 8 factors they are going to evaluate or consider. Consider means careful thought. And these are all very important for the completion of the audit, for a true and fair view. Now, EQC reviewer may be a partner, maybe another partner, or other person in the firm, but they should be member of ICA only, because that person should have understood what is accounting standard, what is standards on auditing. Suitably, a qualified external person or team made with the individual. Now, question comes, who is this reviewer? He can be another partner in the firm or managing partner, but whoever, he must be a CA. You cannot be a non-CA. It can be another practicing firm also, no problem. In this regarding, suitably qualified external person refers to individuals outside the firm with the capability and competence to act as an engagement partner. That means, see, I'll give an example. Like you are hiring one engagement partner here for audit of listed entity. Now, you are hiring one EQCR who has never done audit of listed entity. You tell me how this person can be an EQCR for this person? Right? Minimum, he should have also done one listed entity audit, no? So that he can guide, he can review this person's work. If you have never traveled to, say, for example, say Himalaya, how can you tell somebody else? How can you review whether somebody is properly going there or have they navigating? So, when you talk about the qualified person, that person should be equally competent like the engagement partner. He can be an example partner or an employee with the appropriate of other firm. In addition, in case of a listed entity, he should have sufficient appropriate expertise to act as an engagement partner audit of a listed entity. That means he should have also done the audit of a listed entity. So this particular concept talks about who can be, this particular para talks about who should be that engagement quality control reviewer. Now, it is necessary to maintain objectivity. Fine, you are hiring that engagement quality control reviewer. What do you mean by an objectivity? No bias. How you can ensure the objectivity of the engagement reviewer? First of all, participation in the engagement or making decision to be avoided at all costs. That means, see, if I have got an engagement partner here, engagement partner should not consult him. Please understand. Otherwise, this person will have self-review threat. You go and ask them advice. This person will tell the advice. What judgment you are reviewing? You reviewing your own judgments. That's why the engagement partner should be avoided with the consultation. The engagement partner should not consult the EQCR. However, engagement partner may consult a reviewer during the engagement so as to not to compromise the objectivity in performing the role. That means if you're not going to affect the this thing, what is that called? Okay. Just 1 minute, students. I missed it. You should read it like this. Sorry, I misinterpreted it. Participation in the engagement or making decisions for engagement team is to be avoided at all cost. That means this engagement EQCR should not make decisions for the engagement team. He should not make any decisions. Second, can he be consulted? Yes, he can be consulted, but not to compromise with the objectivity. He should not compromise with the objectivity or eligibility to perform the role. Where the nature and extent of the consultation becomes very significant, care should be taken both by the team and the reviewer to maintain the objectivity. That means you understand it. That means we should not consult on such matters. Tomorrow it should not become the subject matter of review only. Where this is not possible, if you want to consult with somebody because he is the only one knowledgeable, then you either consult another individual or you bring another person as a reviewer. Another individual within the firm or suitably qualified expert person should be appointed to take the role of either the EQC reviewer or the person to be consulted. The firm's policy should provide for the replacement of the EQC reviewer where the ability to perform the objective review may be impaired. That means if you find that the EQCR is not in a position to review, you should replace that. You should take him out. So this is the question. They may ask you question on the objectivity, and this is the para you may have to write on the objectivity. First thing, he should not make any decisions. Second, he may be consulted but to a limited extent. But if it's the significant, then you may have to see to it that your objectivity is not impaired. And in case if you are not able to, you have to consult but you cannot help, objectivity may be compromised, then either you should consult with the third party or you should hire somebody else as a reviewer. And for last one, you should have policies to replace if this person seems to be not fit. Okay, just we will complete one test your knowledge question, students. Yeah, then we will take a break. Okay, so first question, is this listed entity mandatory? Test your understanding. Yes, listed entity is mandatory. Expert opinion of ICA pertains to the issue of interpretation. Appointment of reviewer is a separate and mandatory requirement for audit of files. Okay, now question here is, okay, is it mandatory? And they asked ICA's expert opinion. Okay, asking expert, okay, the crux is something like this, friends. Now, there is one fintech company which is a listed, is indices applicable? Is your EQCR mandatory? EQCR is mandatory for company where they are listed, please understand. Second, for some of the question, they framed a query and sent to ICA for opinion, and ICA gave the opinion. Okay, since ICA gave the opinion, can you consider ICA as a reviewer? Because they only gave the advice. No, ICA's opinion is only an opinion, okay? It is an issue of interpretation. But that does not relieve you from appointing an EQCR. EQCR has to be appointed. Okay, now let us see the test your knowledge one question. PQR associates are the statutory auditors of a listed entity. There arose an issue during the course of audit related to related party transaction. Significant risk. Engagement partner wants to consult the engagement quality control reviewer. Okay, he wanted to consult. Can he consult? Yes, but not to compromise. So you have to write that theory. Objectivity has to be ensured. He may consult, but not to compromise with the objectivity. So you can write something more stories also. Okay, you can write about these also. Now, difference of opinion. What if the difference of opinion comes? See, engagement performance has first element. What is my first element of the engagement performance? Consultation. Whenever you face a problem, please consult. Second element, have a get done the review, EQCR. The third element, you may end up with the difference of opinion with the consultant or the reviewer. What to do? There might be a difference of opinion with the engagement team, with those consulted or with the reviewer. The report should be issued only after the resolution of the difference. In case the recommendations of the EQCR are not accepted by the engagement partner, consultation you forget, but if the EQCR gives you some recommendation and is not accepted, the matter is not resulted to the reviewer's satisfaction, it should be resolved by following the established procedures of the firm, like consulting others or some professional or regulatory body. So if whenever the EQCR gives some opinion and that is not in line with the what partner's understanding, the firm should have the policies, either you ask some other practitioner or a firm or ask ICA and get that difference of opinion resolved. Okay, so in this question has come in your May 24 exam. Giri is a senior partner of TSV Associates, and TSV Associates is a reputed firm of chartered accountant which has been in practice for 5 decades. Live story. Firm undertakes the statutory audit of listed companies across sectors and more than 50 qualified experienced professionals. CA Giri has been assigned as an EQCR for the audit engagement of the listed. Okay, so Giri is an EQCR now. What aspects which would be looked into CA as an EQCR in relation to engagement? Now for this, no, answer is this. These are all the aspects will be verified. Question number 1. What aspects? Okay, how many aspects were there? 8 aspects were there. You can write any 3 or 4 depending upon the mark allocation. You can write 5 also. Upon the issue number 2, upon the completion of the review, CA Giri identified issues with respect to revenue recognition and adequacy of the provision related to onerous contract. The views of Giri are not accepted by the engagement partner. That means this is called a difference of opinion. How you need to address the difference of opinion between Giri and engagement partner? For this, you have to write this story. This may fetch you 2 marks. So what I feel, since this question has got a 3 marks, 2 questions, this is a 5-mark question in the exam. It has got 2 elements, 3 marks for the EQCR and 2 marks for the difference of opinion. You see, 3 points they are given here. There might be a difference of opinion. You have to have established policy. I think it's fine, friends. Understood? Now you had a test your knowledge 4 also here. Test your knowledge 4. Okay, so we have got one more question here. We will visit that. We will visit this September 25 question. But what is this test your knowledge for? PNE are in the middle of the process of listed company, listed entity. During the course of an audit, issue errors relating to the revenue from the contract in terms of 115. Engagement partners took certain stand. Quality control reviewer recommended otherwise. Okay, so this is a clear-cut case of difference of opinion. You understood it is chapter number 1. And partner is not willing to accept the recommendation. How can this stalemate to be ended, or how this conflict can be resolved? Okay, here we will talk about the difference of opinion, and you will write this has to be done, some other professionals to be consulted, so and so, so and so. The last element here will be engagement documentation. Okay, so yeah, so many points, students. I think we will finish with the engagement documentation, then we can continue. Engagement documentation, because we had in the engagement performance has consultation, EQCR, difference of opinion, engagement documentation. Not the firm should establish policies and procedures to complete the assembly of the file on a timely basis. Engagement file should be completed not more than 60 days from the date of the auditor's report. I think in the intermediate only in essay 230 you have come across this particular concept. Okay, here I just want to clarify certain thing. See, there are 2 elements in engagement documentation. What is an engagement document? Okay, what is your work? It's also called work files, work files. These are all the documents what you have. There are two elements. When you should document, the answer is immediately, as and when the audit is done. When the engagement documentation has to be done, as and when you're doing work, you should document it. Document. You need to have some document, a paper, a photocopy, something. That's called a document. So engagement should document on a timely basis. Okay, immediately. As and when the audit is done, you should document. The second element, you will have so many bits and pieces of papers, so many papers. What you should do, you should organize it into one file. See, please understand, students, this is document. This is also called engagement document. This is also called a work paper. They can call it by different names. Engagement document, work papers, document. This is called engagement file or work file. In work file, you will organize the work papers. Understood? No? I hope this is clear. In essay 230 you all learned. See, when you talk about the timelines, engagement documentation has to be done immediately. That means this document has to be created immediately. The moment you have done impairment, you need to have impairment documentation. Second element comes assembly. Assembly means you are organizing in a one box file. This is 60 days from the date of auditor's report. I hope you are clear. So the firm should have the policies and procedure, should document, have the assembly and on timely basis. It should be not more than 60 days from the date of auditor's report. Okay, let us have one test your knowledge question. Ramanujam is a final student. His engagement file in the audit engagement should be ready prior to the issue of audit report. Is it in order? No, not required. Engagement, see, please understand the word, it is file. Engagement document, yes. Answer is yes. It should be ready before the audit report is issued. Document has to be done then and there itself. But a file has to be done, assembly has to be done within 60 days from the date of the auditor's report. That's why a small question they can connect somewhere. Now, what if you are issuing 2 or more reports in respect of the same subject matter? Like financial statement is same. You have issued statutory audit report as per Companies Act. You have issued tax audit report. Same financial statement. Here you give 3CA and here you give the company audit report. Which work you will do first? You will complete this first. And tax audit you report issue secondly. Now tell me, my 60 days will start from the first report or the second report, because both reports are on the same financial statement. Now they say that when you have got 2 or more different report to be issued on the same subject matter, then you need to have firms and policies to define the time limits. Engagement firm should consider those time limits. For example, in case where the firm auditors report on the component financial information of the group, like you have issued on the consolidated financial audit report, standalone audit report, or for statutory report, like that, this is the example they give. Now, policies and procedures should maintain confidentiality. Okay, they say that as if it were a separate engagement. Actually, I missed to bold it. So, when the crux is something like this, where 2 or more reports are issued for the same subject matter, time limit should be considered as if it were a separate engagement. That means, see, statutory report related documentation you should do 60 days from the date of the auditor's report. Tax audit related audit file should be assembled within 60 days from the tax audit report. That means you don't mix it. If you have 2 reports related documentation should do 60 days from that report only. Okay. Then you need to maintain the confidentiality, safe custody, integrity, accessibility, retrievability of the documentation. You see, student, we will see it in the next class, that they have added one sentence here, but they didn't tell you anything. But if we go to the test your knowledge, they have added the contents of that. Okay, so we will check it in the next